1 second here. We are live. Let's put the link out there. Okay. Continue to YouTube. YouTube, this, that, Twitter. Great. So you're a Jets fan. What other teams do you root for?
That's it. I used to be a Mets fan, and I was covering baseball, and I used to be a Nets fan, and then I stopped caring. So only the Jets. And the University of Delaware Blue Hens, my alma mater.
Did you
you ran track there?
Did not well.
What years did you go there?
I'm old, man. I was there 90 and 94. So.
Okay. All right. So you're before the Joe Flacco days then.
I was wedged between Rich Gannon and Joe Flacco. So
oh my God, Rich Gannon. Couple of either MVPs or Super Bowl. Well, no, he wasn't a Super Bowl MVP, but he had a great run that year.
Yeah, Q, pretty good. I always say to people I know, I live in Southern California, USC. Delaware has had more quarterbacks start a Super Bowl than USC. Feel good about that.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true. And Joe Flacco, right on your hometown Jets now, right on your favorite team, the Jets now, as the backup.
It's ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous. I don't want. Yeah, it's the worst.
I honestly, I'm not even joking. If he had a real coach that didn't ruin his development, I really think Sam Darnold could be a really good coach.
Maybe.
I wish he doesn't get. I hope he doesn't get Josh Rosen. That's for sure.
No, probably will. It'll be like when they brought Tebow in to compete with Sanchez. They'll bring in Rosen. Oh, I thought you said get Josh Rosen. I could see them getting Josh Rosen, bring him in to compete with Darnold, and then you're just like, where are we?
Oh,
anyway.
Josh Rosen, poor kid. I felt as Dave knows, I have an irrational hatred for Steve Keim in Arizona because I feel like he did Steve Wilkes and Josh Rosen very dirty.
I would agree.
It does turn out that the Josh Rosen thing worked out very well for them. But the Steve Wilkes thing, I still stand by. I think he got the raw end right there.
I would agree. I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Yeah, Pearlman joins us. All right, just firing off the last link here, and we'll be good to go. And talk 90s basketball. All right.
What's your guys' Twitter on Twitter?
I'm at Jacob_Morocco, and then Dave is David_Albiani. Both Italian boys.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
We don't really talk about that, but yes. All right. So we're good to go if you guys are good to go.
I'm good to go.
All right. Let's do it. 3, 2. Welcome in, Crossing State Lines. I'm Jake, joined as always by my co-host with the Como, Stoneham's finest, Stoneham's greatest, Dave Albiani. Dave, what's up? Dave. Oh boy. Did he freeze on me already? This happens sometimes. Dave, is he there? He's not there. Well, we're on our own now. But anyway, I am Jake. Dave will join us at some point in the night, but I'll get to introducing our guest right off the jump because it's been a long and busy day for him. He is the best-selling author of 9 books. He hosts the podcast Two Writers Slinging Yang, which is also great. His newest book, Three Ring Circus, which I'm holding right here, Kobe, Shaq, Phil, and the Crazy Years of the Lakers Dynasty, was put out just today. I have my copy now. It's Jeff Pearlman. Jeff, welcome to the show.
I'm so tired. You can ask me anything, and it's like when I got about 40 minutes of sleep last night. I've been on the phone nonstop since. So you could be like, who's your favorite stripper back in 1999? And I'd say like Wendy. You know, like I'm way my discount. Whatever you want to ask, now's the time.
Well, I'm glad that we got some time allotted here at the end of a very busy day. I can't even imagine. So I guess actually I guess we could start there. In terms of you've written obviously 9 books, and you've been in the game for a while here. So I guess take us through a publication day like this. What is it like?
It's interesting. It's usually a lot of moving around, but in this case, it's the opposite of moving around. It is. It's sitting. My laptop is on an ironing board right now.
Wow.
Like I'm talking from my ironing board. And I did The Herd with Colin Cowherd. I did ESPN this morning. Wow. I've done a huge number of interviews, all from my ironing board. That is a first for me, all from my ironing board. The bookshelf behind me is especially, I moved some books of friends that I wanted to show just to be nice and make their day. My dad's book is there. My wife's book is there. So it's one of those things where at the end of a day, I'll always say to my wife, I'm like, I can't talk about this book anymore. And then the next day you're like, okay, let's go. And when you're done promoting a book, you're like, wait, nobody wants to talk anymore. Nobody has any more questions. So it's like, you're lucky because people are interested. You know, most I always say, like, I'm not Stephen King or Michael Lewis as far as success, but I've had a really great run writing books, and I'm really lucky. And like, people buy my books and they're interested and they want to talk to you. So who am I to say no? Or, so I just push through.
And obviously the Lakers, a sore subject for Dave and I, who are diehard Celtics fans. And the timeline for this book, a little bit afterwards, it came at our expense. But what kind of made you settle on this? What was the kind of the germ of the idea that got you to write about the Lakers dynasty?
Well, I thought to myself, who wants to read a Celtics book? And then I realized nobody. So I thought I might as well write about the Lakers instead. Like, what are you going to write about? Honestly, the truth of the matter is, like, it's kind of funny. If you think about it, like, there's something that differentiates stars and icons, right? And it's almost like it when you see them. I'm actually being serious. Like, Paul Pierce, I'll use the Celtics as an example because here, and I mean this not insulting, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Paul Pierce, great player. Kevin Garnett, great player. Ray Allen, great player. I don't know if I'd say they were iconic players. I would say they were great players. And I would say Kobe Bryant, for some reason or another, was an iconic player. Shaq was close to iconic if he wasn't iconic. And Phil Jackson, as far as coaches, is right there with the kind of red auerbach. I don't know what it is, but it's almost like it when you see it. And even you guys as Celtics fans, it seems like you guys, like, there's something about Kobe that's different. And not just because he died young. Like, there's something about him that's iconic. And when you can write about three icons on one franchise at the same time, it's a pretty good subject.
Yeah, it's sort of like the superstar argument. You only have so many, and everyone can't be a superstar, but it doesn't mean they're any lesser of a player.
Yeah. I also think, like, it's interesting that they had these two guys and they were completely opposed to each other, and they had nothing in common, and they kind of battled each other a lot, and it makes it more fun. And also, like, Shaq is this larger than large figure. Like, he's literally larger than large, and he also has this personality that's larger than large. And they're just fun. Guys like that are really fun. I mean, I guess you count Shaq as a Celtic from his glorious time wearing the green and white. So you must have a lot of love for Shaq, and you know what I'm talking about.
The memories of Shaq in Boston.
Great memories. Number trivia. What number did he wear?
Was it 36?
Yeah, 36. Nice job.
36. Well, we do a weekly sports trivia competition, and I remember one of the questions we did was the last All-Star appearance Shaq had. What team was it with?
Was it Celtics?
No, it was the Suns.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, did he make it with the Celtics? No.
Yeah, his last year, that only year in Phoenix, because he was it 1 year in Phoenix, 1 year in Cleveland, and 1 year in Boston. I think was what ended his career.
Let me ask you this: do you think if Shaq came back right now, let's say Shaq took 6 months to get in shape, but he's almost 50, could he give you 10 minutes a game as a backup center and be serviceable?
Yes.
At 50.
I would. I know Dave at least would tell Vincent Poirier to get out of town in Boston and sign Shaq for 10 minutes a game.
Do you think Taco Fall is going to be a decent contributor or no?
I would love to see him be a decent contributor, but I don't know if he's ever going to get the actual chance. I mean, the way the Celtics play, I'm not sure if he's not.
What's the point? What's the use? Yeah.
I mean, he's I love him. I mean, I think he's in that kind of that Bull area. I mean, he's not as good as Bull is when he's healthy, especially, but it's, what is he going to give you on the court? Taco's not really much of a spot up shooter. So he's going to be down low, trying to collect rebounds. He's not going to, like, if you're asking him to play up against Joel Embiid or any of the elite bigs, it's never going to happen. It's a fool's errand. Like, I like him. I like with any Celtics player, though. I mean, you know how Celtics fans are. We attach ourselves to players who are never going to be that great.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, no, I think, like, hear me out. Jay Crowder, second team All NBA. I think he should be. Like, that's how Celtics fans are. Like, we think players so much better than they are. But yeah, that's it's I don't know. I don't know about you, Dave. What do you think about Taco Fall's future?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of issues, but I think overall he's 7'4", 7'4", I think. I mean, you can't teach height, so eventually someone will give him a chance, and he'll be at least a niche player. But it's gonna all depend on pick and rolls. That's the game in the NBA today, and I just don't know about foot speed.
You know what's interesting? I had this conversation with someone a while ago. If this were 20 years ago, instead of now, Taco Fall is a top 5 NBA draft pick, and Kyler Murray is getting switched to halfback and being drafted in the 6th round. It is so different now. If you're like, we have this guy and he's 7'6" and blah, 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 and he's athletic, and he's a very high draft pick, but there's It's nothing to do with him anymore. Like, what do? You can't do anything with a 7'6" guy anymore who can't shoot from the outside and has no handle and blah, blah. It sets a different game. And Kyler Murray, like those quarterbacks did not, they used to, it was so, first of all, it was racist back in the day, and they take any black quarterback and move him to another position.
Right.
It's just, the games have changed so much that even like the whole thing, wow, he's 7'4". Like, I don't know if that's actually helpful or hurtful for him. Right. That's a weird thing about it, you know?
Yeah, it's, go ahead, Dave.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, you talk about the centers in the NBA today; they're barely even centers. Bam Adebayo is a center for Miami, and he's 6'9". Like it's hardly, and he's more of like a wing player than he is a center. He just happens to be, more of a muscular build and a bigger guy than other people. But Tatum's 6'8", so it's not like he's that much taller. But the game is all.
If you showed somebody in like 1986, like 1990, one of those years, if you showed them the Houston Rockets starting five, what do you think they would say?
No, they wouldn't get it. And it wouldn't make any sense. And this is why I actually disagree with you that Shaq could come back now, because number one, it would just take him far too long to get down the court. He'd be a complete defensive liability. It's funny because everything he was back in the day, which is this usually athletic and unique big man who made guys like Ewing and David Robinson look small by comparison, now all these guys would make him look obsolete. I mean, at 50, he is obsolete, but even if you brought him back at age 30, he would still be great, but I don't know if his game would translate to the modern NBA the way it does now. It's really fascinating.
No, it's definitely fascinating, and you watch how just how dominant how transcendent of a player he was when he came in the league, and how dominant he was in Orlando, and it's definitely fascinating. And the rich getting richer with the Lakers end up getting him, but I have to wonder, not switching gears too rapidly. But you tweeted about it, I think it was maybe a few weeks ago or a month ago. But how difficult was it promoting this book in the wake of Kobe Bryant's death?
Well, I mean, I'm doing it now, and it's just awkward. It's really awkward. It's because, I finished the book before he died, and then you come along and you're asking people to buy a book, and a lot of the information in there isn't that glowing about Kobe. There's a lot about Eagle, Colorado, and the sexual assault. There's a lot about him being a pain in the ass as a teammate, immature, blah, blah, blah. So I think living out here in Southern California, I'm a native New Yorker, but I live out here. There's a allegiance to Kobe Bryant that I think people don't want to violate. So I keep reminding people, look, I finished it before he died. It's not just about sort of that. It's a path of it's part of the pathway of who he became. But it's a little bit of a heavy lift. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit of a heavy lift.
I did read the introduction. I know you did get a little bit of a tribute in there to Kobe in the intro. And I think the way you reacted to it is the way everybody reacted to it. I remember I was at the market with my girlfriend, and I was walking, and I was like, what? Like I was like, wait, no, like this cannot be true. I refuse to believe this is true. And then all the people started texting me like, did you see this? I got texted Dave, like, do you see this? And he's like, no, that can't be true. And then sure enough,
it's kind of like when Chadwick Boseman died a few weeks ago, and I had no idea he was sick. I had no idea he had cancer. And you're just like, wait, what? Like Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies the other day, and you're like, that's disappointing from my vantage point. That's disappointing because of the Supreme Court, but it's not shocking. She was 80-something years old. Okay, she lived a full life. But when you're just like, what? Young death, it's always shocking. Always.
Young and sudden, especially. That devastating combination. And it not to mention him and the kids that were on board and his daughter, and how everybody came together and afterwards. And it's like you said, like there are superstars and there are icons, and Kobe Bryant undeniably was an icon in basketball. I mean,
I agree with that. I mean, I think a lot of it was that the work ethic. Like, I just think that's what people related to with him, like pick your favorite Celtic of the last 20 years, like pick your favorite Nick or Net or blah, blah, blah. And you're guaranteed they didn't work as hard as Kobe Bryant did. And there's something to be said for a guy coming along and just busting his ass and saying, I'm going to be the next Jordan, and then almost becoming the next Jordan, like it's amazing. So out here, you can see how people are just really moved by what he became and the work ethic he put into it.
I know I'm going off book on my list of questions here, but do you prefer number 8 Kobe or number 24 Kobe?
Definitely number 8, Kobe. Number 1 because he's the one I wrote about.
Mm-hmm.
I used to just think he was really cool. Like I thought Kobe when he had the hair kind of poofy, cooler than shaved head Kobe. Like I thought that was him at his coolest, which is dumb, but I did.
I understand that.
I actually have a question about your book. So before this, obviously, everyone has an opinion on the Lakers dynasty. Did your opinion on their success change at all during this process? And if so, how so?
I think the one thing that changed for me is I always thought, I think I was among the many who, when they lost to Detroit in 2003, 2004, I think I was always like, man, that's a really big upset. And they really screwed up and blah, blah, blah. And looking back in hindsight, I mean, that's a year where they brought in Peyton and Malone, and both those guys were long in the tooth. Shaq wanted his deal renegotiated and was not being the nicest guy. Phil Jackson didn't know what was going on with his contract. Kobe was facing 20 years in prison for sexually assaulting a woman and was flying in and out of Yugo, Colorado. Meanwhile, he was threatening to go to the Clippers because he was about to be a free agent. Like that year was just a mess, a huge mess. And I think where I used to be, oh man, how do they get upset? Blah, blah, blah. In hindsight, I think it was maybe one of Phil Jackson's best coaching jobs, even getting that team to the finals because they were just a dumpster fire of craziness. So
that's a good point, especially since, you look back on it and just on paper, you see, wow, the Lakers with all that talent, and they lost to the Pistons, who were probably the last team without a superstar to win a title, or at least one of the last in the 20 years.
Yeah.
One of the few to win without a superstar. And even that is a bit of a misnomer because, Ben Wallace was, all defense, defensive player of the year for 4 out of 5 years or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
And that was a great team they went up against. And it is tough to say as a Celtics fan, giving the Lakers credit, but yes, they definitely deserve some for that. You never really think of that, but
yeah. I would not call Ben Wallace a superstar having watched that. He's kind of like Andre Drummond. Would you call Andre Drummond a superstar? No. You'd be like, he's a very good player. Those Pistons, though, what they did was they were just clamp down defense. I mean, all-time clamp down defense where Richard Hamilton and Tayshaun Prince and Chauncey Billups and Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace, and they were just nasty, and they wanted it really bad. And it was like it's like the scene in Rocky 3 where Rocky he loses a fight to Mr. T because he just doesn't want it anymore, and he got soft. And the Lakers at that point had kind of gotten soft. So
Clubber Lang, baby.
Any Clubber Lang reference is good for me.
That's right. That's right. So I listened to most of your episode with Judy Batista on Two Writers Slinging Gang, and it got me to think a question. You mentioned the J.R. Ryder interview where you went to his door, and I was wondering, what was one of your favorite interviews from this book process?
Well, there's so many. I mean, I spent 8 hours with Phil Jackson in Montana, which was really cool. Driving around and it's really just getting a tour of Montana. So I love that. J.R. Ryder was actually awesome. He ended up giving me 2 hours, which was great, and on the phone, and was terrific. I like the little guys. Shaq was awesome, but I like Kareem Rush and Mike Penberthy and Mark Madsen, like role players. I like role players. I'm a fan of those guys. So, the idea that I get paid to roam around and talk to people about sports is a pretty sweet gig, I gotta say.
100%. What's one thing you thought you knew going into this, and then when you came out, you had something completely different on your mind? Like what was the one thing that stuck with you after all this?
I mean, I didn't realize the Nets were this close to selecting John Calipari. The Nets were about to take Kobe Bryant in 1996 with a number 8 pick. Like it was a done deal. They were taking Kobe, and their coach was John Calipari, obviously famous college coach now. And they wound up taking Kerry Kittles instead because Calipari got really nervous and cold feet at the last second about drafting Kobe. So the Nets easily could have had Kobe Bryant as part of their swamp mess, and the Lakers would have been Shaq and who knows, Kerry Kittles at guard. It's like all the sliding doors. What would have happened? So I was shocked by the Nets, just the depths to which they screwed up the '96 draft.
It never ceases to amaze me with the Nets how much they screw up. But
you guys, man, that Paul Pierce Garnett Jason Terry trade is one of the great scripts in the history of basketball. So you guys know it well.
And then for some reason, the Phoenix Suns said, you know what, we're going to do business with Danny Ainge again. Or we're going to do business with him anyway, and we're going to trade him Isaiah Thomas for pennies on the dollar.
I know.
It's the tale as old as time. So I guess my really last main question, I'm sure something else will come. Actually, I did want to ask alternate timeline question. Kobe Bryant goes to the Hornets, plays for the Hornets. What does their future look like?
I mean, that was a good organization. That would have been a lot better than going to the Nets. They kind of had their stuff together. I don't know. You team them up with like Glenn Rice, and I'm trying to think who else was there. Larry Johnson and Alonzo, and I don't know. It's a pretty freaking good team right there if you put them all together. So if he goes to the Nets, I think it's not good at all. I think he ends up being a guy who scores a lot of points on a lot of shots. Carmelo Anthony light, but Hornets maybe it works out okay.
Carmelo Anthony. Wow. Carmelo Anthony. I'm sure a lot of people are still eating their words over saying he was better than LeBron James.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
Not quite. Not quite.
He's my least favorite NBA player of all time.
Carmelo Anthony, really?
I don't even think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he has done more damage to teams than he just scores a lot. He doesn't play D. He doesn't win. He doesn't make players better. He hogs the ball way too much. He scores a lot. To me, a great scorer is a Hall of Famer, but no one agrees with me, so it's okay.
I mean, I only disagree because there are so many other players in the Hall of Fame that I think are inferior to Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
So I think it's like Mike Messina in the Major League, like in Baseball Hall of Fame. Like, he's a great player, but that opens the door for a lot of other pitchers to get in that may not otherwise be in.
I agree with that one.
That's just a matter of opinion. But I mean, man, my least favorite NBA player of all time. That's a fantastic question. I know Dave's answer is Rafe LaFrentz, because I love Rafe LaFrentz and Dave hates Rafe LaFrentz.
Kansas, right? Didn't he go to Kansas?
Kansas, yeah.
He was a top 10 pick, I believe. And,
Dallas?
Great player for the Celtics.
Was he drafted by Dallas? Who was he drafted by, Rafe LaFrentz? I think Dallas, and I only know that because he's a loser. Yeah.
Yes, I think it was Dallas. That's right. Yeah,
wow.
Rafe LaFrentz. He was shooting threes before centers shot threes. People forget that.
Even Rafe LaFrentz isn't talking about Rafe LaFrentz right now, but we are.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. I haven't been checking the chat. We have a couple of questions in the chat. One, actually, both of them are from Jake Levin. So Jake says, no, we're talking about the 90s here, but how would prime Dwight Howard fit in today's game? Yes, I know he's still playing. Have always thought he's massively overrated.
Not great, because guys like that just don't work anymore. Even I feel like sometimes Joel Embiid is obsolete for the NBA. I just don't think big guys like that. And Dwight Howard was a great athlete, blah, blah, blah. But like, he's primarily a back to the basket kind of guy. And there's just not a place for those guys. So in a way, I think Dwight Howard is better served now. His only use right now is as a bench guy who can come in, be a little physical, get some rebounds, block some shots. But that doesn't work. It's just a different game, I think.
And then Jake says, this isn't a question, but he comments, Kobe to the Hornets alternate timeline. They never moved to New Orleans. They never have to temporarily relocate to OKC. OKC is never seen as a Super Bowl NBA market, and the Sonics are still in Seattle.
There you go. Well said.
So right there, the ripple effect.
That's awesome. I like that.
Thank you, Jake Levin. He also knows LaFrentz was drafted by Dallas, then traded to the Celtics with Yuri Welsh for Twan and Tony Delk.
Wow. I interviewed Tony Delk for this book. Yeah, that's good.
Tony Delk. Check him out.
Tony Delk, good player. Good player.
He went to what, Louisville, I think?
No, Kentucky.
Same state.
I knew it was a Bluegrass, yeah.
At least. But great. So that's definitely, can't wait to dive into it. I can't wait to see all the things the Celtics did wrong in the 90s by not reading about them in the book.
Yeah.
Some dark years for the Celtics. Talk about alternate timeline. Tim Duncan comes here. Jesus.
Again, as I told you early on, I'm a Jet fan, so I don't want to hear any stuff. Oh, wow. So hard. Oh, really? You okay?
That's
all right, being the Celtics, because I haven't had a fucking Super Bowl in my lifetime. All right?
Hey, you did get the jump on us there in a couple of playoff games, though.
Yeah, come on.
The Sanchez.
I'm just saying, you see what our team is doing this year.
Hey, I will say I saw that somebody post. I know that everybody, you could take one pass out of context, but that throw that Sam Darnold made across his body, like running the opposite direction this week, was pretty sick.
Yeah. Wow.
One of those, like, if Mahomes made the pass, you'd hear nothing about but that type of passes.
He's talented.
He is. His sister played volleyball at URI. Funny enough.
I knew that. I did a profile of Sam for Bleacher Report. He's a really nice guy. He comes from a great family. I knew that. I interviewed his sister, I think.
Frankie Darnold. Yep, she was there when we were there. But anyway, so we'll do
I
a quick
one more question.
Oh, sorry, Dave. My bad. Go ahead.
All right. So if the Lakers trio of Phil, Shaq, and Kobe was not broken up, say they all get happy, they all get extensions, they're all solidified, how many more titles do they win if they win any?
I reject the premise of that question because it was never going to happen. Like they were done. They were done. So it's like saying, if so-and-so Matt Kemp didn't strike out so much, how many home runs would he hit? Like a lot, but he does strike out a lot. Like they were so done by the end. It just couldn't be salvaged. So, and also Shaq was kind of long in the tooth and he was a little out of shape and Phil Jackson was tired, needed a break from Kobe. So I just don't think it's a realistic possibility, to be honest with you. It's a fair question.
Yeah.
I love alternate timeline shit like that.
Sure.
But anyway, so we'll do a quick little 90s basketball draft. Just in case, I know it's been a long day for you, Jeff, so I sent you the Google Doc with a little bit of prep I did last night in case anybody needs their memory jogged, which I didn't want to insult you by sending it to you, but I didn't know if you
I didn't even see it. You sent it to me?
I emailed it to you. It's a 90s basketball draft Google Doc. It's just a list of players in case anybody needs their memory jog. We're just going to draft the starting lineup, a bench player, and a coach. Jeff, as our guest, you have the first pick. Dave will go second. I'll go third. Snake draft style. I can only imagine who your top pick will be, but go ahead.
Wait, I get to pick anyone from the 90s?
Any player from the 90s, yep.
Yeah, I'm taking Jordan, obviously.
Yeah. I figured that would be the pick.
Yeah, I'm going to dominate this. Okay, go ahead.
Dave, you're up next. Is he there? Is he gone already? Damn it. Dave, your Wi-Fi is killing me, man.
Dave, your Wi-Fi is terrible.
If Dave stays around, I'm taking a pick.
I'm back.
Dave, Michael Jordan, surprisingly off the board.
I'm going to take Hakeem Olajuwon.
Wow.
Give me the big man. Give me the best big man of the 90s.
Okay. That's a good pick. I like that. So since I have the next pick and the pick after that, I'm going to go with a fact I only know because of our sports trivia. The only NBA player to make every first team every all NBA first team in the 90s, and that's Karl Malone. He'll be my first player. Going Karl Malone, incredible player every year, very consistent. And also I am going to take, why not? I'll take Kobe as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Karl Malone and Kobe lined up. Prime Karl Malone alongside Kobe, not, as you said, long in the tooth, Karl Malone. So, Dave, what do you got?
I am going to take let's see. I'm gonna take Charles Barkley here. I'm gonna try to pair up my dominant front line here.
It's a good pick. I do like Charles Barkley. This is just an off the cuff. Is he the best NBA player to not win a championship?
He might be. It's definitely in the conversation. Ewing never won either, but I guess Barkley.
That's true. But
Stockton never won either, or Karl Malone. Or Karl Malone.
Neither one of them did. Yeah.
Karl Malone could have had one of those end of career championships. That's right. I would say probably Karl Malone. Yeah. But Barkley. I mean, Ewing never won an MVP, right?
No, he did not.
Well, I mean, definitely the best player never won a championship or an MVP.
Yeah, I would say so.
That is crazy. That's just crazy to me. But Jeff, you have the next two picks.
I get two?
You get two.
This is easy. I'm going Shaq and I'm going Iverson.
Jesus. That is devastating.
You kids are in trouble.
That's a devastating back. I'm sure this poll will not be good for us, Dave.
Yeah, no, I don't think it will be.
Shit. I'm going for my favorite player next then. Screw it. Wait, Dave, who did you pick? Did I skip you?
No, I went Barkley.
Oh, Barkley. I didn't write it down. That's why. All right, Dave, well, it's back to you.
All right, I'm going to I need some shooting because I have two big guys and I'm mostly down low.
Don't you dare do it.
I'm going to take Reggie Miller.
Damn you. I love Reggie. He's one of my favorite players of the 90s. I love Reggie Miller.
I got to get some shooting. He's a little bit longer for a shooting guard back in the day. Give me Reggie Miller.
Are you a fan of the 30 for 30 series, Jeff?
I am very much.
What is your favorite documentary in that series?
Ooh, I knew you were gonna. I really like the when Jordan played with the Birmingham Barons. I don't know if you ever saw that.
The Jordan Rides the Bus, right?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
That was a good one.
I wrote a USFL book, and I love the US. There's a USFL one.
That's right. Got the USFL book right behind me. I think people can see if I do that. But I think my two favorites are Bad Boys, the one about the Pistons, and Winning Time, the Reggie Miller one. Oh, yeah. I love Winning Time. Winning Time is so good. That anecdote where they're in the car and Reggie's like, "Oh, I scored like 75 points tonight," and they're like, "How much did you score, Cheryl?" And she's like, 105.
Oh yeah, awesome. USC. Yeah.
Yeah, she was an absolute stud.
Yeah.
All right, so it's back to me. I got Kobe. I got Karl Malone. I do. I'm gonna take John Stockton.
I knew you were gonna take him.
Yeah, Stockton is also one of my low-key favorite players of all time. I believe the all-time leader in both assists and steals, and I don't think anybody's gonna catch him. I know Chris Paul is probably the active player closest to him in both those categories, but I don't think he's in the stratosphere with either one. And then after that, if I can't get Jordan, I'm going to take Pippen and bring him into the fold. I'm going to have some, if we're playing in the 90s, I'm going to have some height problems. But that being said, there's a lot of centers still on the board, so I'm going to be able to scoop one of them up at some point. But David, is back to you.
I thought it's my pick. It's not my pick.
Oh, no, Dave is in the middle.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
It's all good.
All right. I'm going to try to get a point guard here because I feel like I need one. I'm going to take Gary Payton because I like the two-way point guard aspect of it. So I'm going to take Gary Payton.
The glove.
Ball pressure really slows down offenses.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of my other trivia questions we've done on this show is Gary Payton is the first player to have his number retired by the Heat, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that's right. Yeah, from what I remember, I think he was the first one that has number retired by them.
Why did the Miami Heat retire Gary Payton's number?
That's a great question.
I'm skeptical of this one.
I'm pretty sure I looked it up on the ever reliable Wikipedia. I'm pretty sure.
All right.
As you're making your picks, I'll double check it because
my pick right now
you have back-to-back picks indeed.
Oh, I'm going Duncan, and that pretty much just won me this draft. No offense. And then I'm going. Let's see. I need a power forward. I'm gonna go Grant Hill and take the win. Thanks.
I'm gonna take Grant Hill.
Grant Hill is one of those guys I think people forget about too.
Yeah, he was amazing.
How dominant he was, and
I wish he didn't get hurt. Alternate timeline. I wish he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, he was great.
Oh, it's tough. He was a great player. Got hurt, and also up there is one of the better players. Never won a title, right?
No, also a very nice guy. Very nice human being.
Yeah, we forgot about a different decade, but I don't believe Steve Nash ever won a title either.
Yeah, did not. You were correct.
Another guy up there is one of the best never to do it.
Yeah, multiple MVP.
Oof, that's right. Yeah, very, very good player. Great hair too. David, back to you. You got Olajuwon, Barkley, Miller, and Payton so far.
I'm gonna take Penny Hardaway. Fill out that last spot with the Magic. Prime Penny Hardaway was a dominant scorer.
Penny, that's right. Great. That's another great 30 for 30. This Magic moment. That's a great one. Love it. So that's back to me. I got back-to-back picks. Duncan's off the board, so he's gone. Olajuwon was gone a long time ago. I'm taking David Robinson. I quite frankly can't believe he's gotten to me at this point. But another guy, the Admiral, always loved David Robinson. That Tim Duncan predecessor, the Spurs, got so damn lucky. They had him for the whole decade, and then they suck one year. The lottery ball falls their way, and then they get another franchise center or power forward out of it.
You guys got Chauncey Billups, and then traded him a year later.
We got Chauncey Billups and was it Ron Mercer in that draft too?
Ron Mercer and Walter McCarty, I think, was in it.
Just incredible. Rick Pitino is a genius. Everybody.
He's coaching now at Iona College. He's a head coach at college. Yeah.
Iona, a frequent competitor of URI.
There you go. I knew Rochelle. Was my hometown. So.
Really?
Yeah, home of Iona.
There you go. That's right, Iona College. Check it out. The Gales, great mascot.
Yeah.
That was me, my first pick. All right, so I am just going to go ahead and take Phil Jackson here as my coach.
Okay.
Because if I'm going to win somewhere, I might as well get the best coach in the 90s.
Yep.
All right, so David's back to you.
Okay. As my sixth man, I'm going to take Clyde Drexler. I'm going to take my scorer off the bench.
Imagine forming an NBA team and Clyde Drexler's coming off your bench.
It's a pretty good bench.
I mean, at this point, Jeff, I'm just trying to beat Dave. Let's be real here.
I see.
Yeah.
If you get 80% of the vote, I get 15. Dave gets 5. I'll be happy with that.
Does Dave get 2 picks now or just 1?
Just 1. You have 2. Your last 2 here. Dave gets 1, and I have the Mr. Irrelevant of this draft.
So I'm doing my last 2 right now.
These are the last 2. Yep.
I'm gonna take Riley as my coach.
Okay.
And I will take. Wait, so Drexler's gone, right?
Yep.
So I have a forward. Man, that's a tough one. All right, I'm gonna go with Alonzo as my last guy.
That's not bad. Alonzo Mourning, one of the best gifts, also.
Yep.
With the
Exactly. Incredible
GIF. Love using it. But he's another one of those guys that I feel like was unheralded in his time. Great player.
Yeah.
I know this is like the binary question for every player. He's won a title, right?
Yeah, with the Heat.
Okay, he was on that Heat team. That's what
he was the backup for Shaq.
Yeah. Correct.
God damn. Matt, that's crazy. Imagine those 2 guys going at it in their prime. Well, I guess they did, but whatever. Dave, your last pick, you need a coach, and the 2 best ones in the 90s are off the board.
I mean, basically, it comes down to me. It's Chuck Daly or it's Jerry Sloan. I'm gonna take Chuck Daly though. Okay. I'm gonna go over Jerry.
Good choice.
I do like Chuck Daly a lot. Yeah, one of those fun guys to watch in documentaries too. He's a great guy. I think he passed away a few years ago, right?
Yeah, he did. He was a great guy.
Yeah, Chuck Daly, good coach. It's a good coach for your team, Dave. That's a good lineup.
Nice job in that.
What was it?
Thank you. Yeah.
That was a dark horse pick. That was a good one.
I know.
Could have taken Jerry Sloan, but you went for Chuck Daly. I like
Daly better.
Respect.
Yeah, I think Daly's a better coach.
I think I do too. Daly also has some championship rings, so
correct.
Got that going for him, which is nice.
Correct.
He was great.
I'm gonna go Dennis Rodman as my 6th man. I feel like he's a good guy to bring off the bench. Great player, really fierce competitor. So so I'll read back our teams here. So Jeff, we'll just give you the crown now. Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, Allen Iverson, Tim Duncan, Grant Hill, Pat Riley, and Alonzo Mourning. Dave, you drafted Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, Reggie Miller, Gary Payton, Penny Hardaway, Clyde Drexler, and Chuck Daly. My team is Karl Malone. I can't read my handwriting. Kobe Bryant, John Stockton, Scottie Pippen, David Robinson. Oh my God, I can't even read my own handwriting here. Oh my God. Phil Jackson and Dennis Rodman. Oh my God. I was writing it so quickly and my handwriting is chicken scratch anyway. But I'll post the poll for that in a couple of days. We all know the results are going to be on that one. So it was a pleasure for me and Dave to get eviscerated on that. That was a good time. Before we go, last thing, Jake had another question. His last comment said, Jeff loved football for a buck, read it earlier in quarantine. DJT, Donald J. Trump, destroyed spring football in the 80s and could inadvertently bring it back, FCS, due to pandemic incompetence. He said, false, Dan Marino's 13 was retired by the Heat. That's interesting. I actually didn't know that. Yeah. And Peyton won a ring there in 2006. So that's a big reason why he was, I guess, incorporated with there. But anyway, that's all we got for this episode. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on with us. We appreciate it. Your book that just came out today, Three Ring Circus, Kobe, Shaq, Phil, and the Crazy Years of the Lakers Dynasty. It's out now. Go grab it wherever you get your books. And Jeff, where can we find you?
Right here. Literally right here. Is that it? I'm on that was like a dad joke. My daughter was like, Dad, what the fuck is that? That really was bad. I'm on at Jeff Pearlman on Twitter, jeffpearlman.com, and I always answer questions. And if anyone has any thoughts or comments or whatever, happy to engage. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And Dave, where can we find you?
At David_Albiani on Twitter.
I'm at Jacob_Morocco. The podcast is SCSL Podcast on Twitter. You can find us. We're distributed by Anchor. We're on Spotify, iTunes, all the usual ones. Go check us out there. And we'll see you guys next week. Again, Three Ring Circus. Go pick it up at it wherever you get your books and enjoy it, especially if you're a Lakers fan or a Celtics fan. You'll love it either way. Thanks. Perfect. Jeff, thank you so much.
Yeah, that was great.